the foundations of our society. Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, the very safety nets that people have fought for generations to ensure that our country lives up to its promise, are being targeted by the billionaires and the oligarchs and the corporations. This insidious rise of authoritarianism is fueled by corrupt billionaires and mega corporations who believe that they have the right to control every aspect of our lives. Our health care, to our schools, to our thoughts, to our very speech. Under the false banner of patriotism and freedom and a false banner of patriotism. They would have us believe that if we gave them all the control, everything would be great. But breaking news, they've had the control and look at where we're at right now. Massive wealth inequality in this country, where most of our people live paycheck to paycheck. And it isn't a new problem for generations. The billionaires and oligarchs have kept all this wealth and left us with the crumbs. But we say no more. In this moment, we all have a choice to make. As elected officials, we can't live in the world of what we can't do, but we have to live in the world of what we can and must do. I'll tell you, I had some friends come up to me and say, Maxwell, you should think about running for Congress. 4 years ago, I said, hell no, you're crazy. The crazy thing is, I didn't have all the power at the time. I didn't have all the money. I experienced homelessness during my campaign. And as many of you know, even after I was elected, I couldn't find a place to live in D.C. because the housing costs were too high. But the crazier thing is, we won. We didn't have all the power. When we woke up and saw, it was Twitter at this time, when we woke up and saw on Twitter that a black man, George Floyd, had been lynched in broad daylight. We didn't have all the power, but we still took to the streets to say that Black Lives Matter. They didn't have all the power. When a gunman walked into Marjorie Stoneman Douglas in Parkland, Florida, and murdered 17 students, children, and teachers. But the students rose up, demanded that we end gun violence, and the world didn't just watch, the world marched to end gun violence. I say this because a lot of times when you don't have all the power that you want, you use all the power that you got. And that's what we have to do in this moment. We need to use everything in our toolbox. We can't afford to brush aside any part of our movement. We need mutual aid. We need protest. We need direct action. We need a legislative strategy. We need to be in the courts litigating because I promise you, our opposition are not leaving any tools in their toolbox. They're using everything they have. And it's insane because there is such international solidarity in the right-wing fascist movement. January 6th here, January 8th in Brazil, funded by a lot of the same people and organized by a lot of the same people. But here's the thing, their movement is run by fear, trying to push us against one another. They would have our people believe that the reasons we can't afford rent, the reason we can't afford health care, the reason we can't afford groceries is because of other people in our own communities. Yes, we know that this system is rigged and the status quo doesn't work for Americans, but it's not rigged against the billionaires. It's rigged for the billionaires and for the corporations. They are the ones hoarding so much wealth, we can't even imagine what it is. They're the ones cutting essential programs that help working families while giving themselves massive tax breaks that benefits nobody but themselves. They tell us that immigrants are stealing our jobs, but they're the ones shipping jobs overseas and hiring corporate lawyers to go and union bust. They're the ones that are screwing us over on the jobs. They tell us that trans people are a threat to our children, but they're the ones dismantling public education. They're the ones denying the climate crisis. They're the ones poisoning our planet. They're the ones doing nothing about the national public health emergency of gun violence. And they want us to believe that they're the patriots of free speech. But they're the ones kidnapping and disappearing college students across this country that are just fighting for peace to ensure that innocent people don't die. The message is simple, and I've been traveling the country. I went to Michigan with my good friend Senator Chris Murphy to a Republican district, and the message is simple. We're in this situation not because of our neighbors. I promise you, your bank account looks a lot more like your trans neighbors or your immigrant neighbors and nothing like Elon Musk's. In fact, we're all closer to being on the streets than having a bank account that looks like his. How do you think he got to where he's at? I have people who come up to him and say, Maxwell, why would they be stealing? Elon Musk is already the richest person in the world. He has enough money. The question is, how do you think he became the richest person in the world? And, you know, Elon doesn't like me. If you told me 5 years ago that the richest man on earth would be tweeting about me, I mean, it goes to show Elon's a great example that money can't buy you happiness, and money can't buy you a Wisconsin Supreme Court seat either. But I'll tell you, our way out of this is not to back down, is not to be silent, is not to be divided. Throughout human history, authoritarians, they're never satisfied with the power that they have. And so they test the bounds, they push the limits, they break the law, and then they look at the public to see if they're quiet or if they're loud. If we are quiet, if elected officials are quiet, then we are complicit. And we cannot be complicit in the tearing apart of Medicaid, of Social Security, of food stamps, of nutritional assistance, of the things that we fought for and earned. This is why Democrats in the House and across the country, we can't be and we are not the minority party. We must be the opposition in this moment. And then in less than 2 years, we will become the majority. And I'll tell you this, Elon Musk was on the news the other day saying, well, if the Democrats win, it's just going to be subpoenas and investigations. It's the one thing he's right about. You're damn right there's going to be subpoenas. You're damn right there's going to be investigations. Because when you steal from the people, expect the people to rise up at the ballot box and on the streets. Look, I'll end with this. I'm not going to be the one to sit here and say everything is going to be okay. Because to be honest, there's going to be a lot of people, and there's already a lot of people who are not okay, who are suffering from this authoritarian right-wing regime that is trying to have a billionaire takeover of our government. But the good thing is we are not alone. Not just in this moment and in this crowd, but I mean we're not alone in the grand mosaic of humanity and timeline of justice. We stand alongside the water protectors, the freedom fighters, the anti-war warriors, the labor organizers, and movements of working people throughout human history that have seen the world through the eyes of the most vulnerable and said, we are all together. We are not divided and we are not apart. And it's not going to be easy. And I know this coming from a movement. You know, I got involved in politics when I was 15 years old because I didn't want to get shot in school. I was a part of a movement for 10 years and still part of the gun violence prevention movement. That the time when the most people give a damn about our issue is coupled when there's the most death and chaos. A movement when the country is paying attention to us. This is what's going on right now. I always tell people, the testament of an organizer is what you do when nobody's paying attention. But the testament of a movement is what you do when the world is watching. And the world is watching our country right now. There will be times when we feel discouraged. There will be times where we feel disappointed. But when those feelings overcome you, think about this moment. Think about our people. Think about our stories. And think about the people who came before us. And in my mind, I always think about the amazing Angela Davis when she said, I am no longer accepting what I cannot change. I am changing what I cannot accept. So to the people, can you accept cuts to Social Security? Can you accept cuts to Medicare and Medicaid? Can we accept the rise of right-wing authoritarians in this country? Can we accept them banning the books in our libraries? Can we accept them trying to ethnically cleanse our people from a land? Can we accept kids being mowed down in their schools? Well, it sounds like we have a lot of damn work to do. God bless you all. Let's continue to fight, and we will win. Thank you.